with a depiction of the blood moon, which swiftly redirects his focus as Marco's Earth companions are taken away. Hey, how are you? I'm Slice of Otaku, and I want to talk to you about the Blood Moon Curse. And yes, I am referring to it as a curse. With the Blood Moon Ball, the souls of Star Butterfly and Marco Diaz have eternally conjoined, essentially bonding them to one another for better or for worse. And for a lot of fans, the Blood Moon is a blessing, as it serves to be insurance behind the vanilla shipping of the show's two main protagonists, essentially keeping the prospect of their union alive even at its lowest points. And so right now, its presence seems to align with what the majority of fans want, or believe they want, which I believe may actually be a ploy, that the Blood Moon isn't necessarily the ever-positive force it's masqueraded as. For starters, we know very little about this thing, but based on the very little that we actually do know, it is a bit questionable to say the least. The ball that Tom Lucitor, the current Prince of the Underworld, curated for Star is apparently far more tame and watered down than the typical display of blood-churning mayhem. The monsters of the Underworld are an organized syndicate that dabble in both dark arts and traditions, so to think that this occurrence, which they have coveted for what must have been millennia, would be any different isn't a logical stance. And when talking about the Blood Moon, truly, this is a powerful force, one which transcends the traditional boundaries of magic, allowing for its influence to persist regardless of the dimension. Now, as it currently stands, the quote-unquote curse presented by this force is most notable in the case of Marco. So let's start by talking about the other ships he's predominantly found himself in with the show's narrative. With the season 2 episode Bon Bon the Birthday Clown, after kissing Jackie Lynn Thomas for the very first time, Marco is immediately met with a depiction of the Blood Moon, which swiftly redirects his focus to thoughts of Star, preventing him from even basking in the moment in the same way that Jackie did. He stands there, still and perplexed for a moment. Then, the entirety of his summer vacation is consumed by things relating to Muni and, by extension, Star. So much so that he is incapable of letting it go, which is physically represented by his cape. He disregards the happenings in Jackie's life, and even when he promises to be over Muni, he still can't help himself from continuing to wear the cape, which results in the ending of their relationship. Then there's Hekapu, which admittedly is the ship that I was rocking out with, mostly because I absolutely adore Hekapu, and the relationship they forged with the episode Running with Scissors was just amazing. I mean, 16 years is a very long time to forge a bond, but even then, even that was nothing in the face of Starco. And so with the episode Nightlife, Hekapu subliminally gave up on Marco. Why? Because he had been lying to her every night on Star's behalf, which no doubt pained me, but it is what it is. Next up is Kelly, who's kind of been the side piece in season 3. Sure, she has her subtle moments and the potential of the pairing is presented here and there, but truly in comparison to the other ships, it just doesn't have as much going on. And to be fair, it's not exactly the ideal time for this ship to rise to prominence, considering Marco's conflicting and confusing feelings towards Star. So yeah, Kelly kinda started out with an uphill battle. But moving forwards, there's something that set this whole Blood Moon situation in motion that it seems a lot of people have either overlooked or forgotten about, and that's what exactly got Marco to go to the ball in the first place. While he's alone, just stuffing his face with some nachos, you know, as one does on a lonely night, this random, mysterious voice projects to him, saying, "Blood Moon tonight, the moon of lovers," which couldn't be the doing of the Blood Moon itself, as it hadn't beamed on Star and Marco just yet. And even if this were the result of some sort of magic or something, there had to have been someone behind it. Now, as far as I can tell, at this point, no character simultaneously knew of the Blood Moon's powers and stood to gain from it impacting Star and Marco. But funny enough, in the following episode, Fortune Cookies, we had the debut of the lizard himself, Toffee. Anyways, in the very same dream, the blood moon appears as Marco's Earth companions are taken away by it, stating that they're moving on with their lives and leaving Marco behind. And if anything, we have finally seen a bit of this dream come to fruition as Marco around Star, to whom he is betrothed in adherence to the blood moon. And lastly, we have the colossal event, which pretty much just industrialized and provided nothing but fuel to the already set Starco battleship. In the episode Booth Buddies, feeling as though it's the correct decision to make in their situation, Marco kisses Star. And at the very end of the episode, there are two other important points to be made. Firstly, that the blood moon is visible here, which immediately depicts its influence in this situation. Then, with a split-second frame, when Star grabs the photos containing their kiss, both their cheek marks are visible. And yeah, we have seen Marco's cheek marks before, but it is rather peculiar that they happen to be crescent moon shaped. I mean, we literally have a character named Moon in the show, and her cheeks are diamonds. But with that, Marco's cheek marks are indeed strange. They only appear when he's exposed to powerful sources of magic, and simply being around Star isn't enough to set them off either. On top of that, we certainly know that the booth itself was not magic as well. And as Disney as it may have been for their kiss to be magical or something, I'm not so sure. I'm more inclined to believe it to be the influence of the blood moon, which once again is incredibly powerful and operates beyond the conventional means of magic. But then again, I will say that it is strange that the photo only depicts this when Star is holding it. Maybe it's kinda like a holographic card or sticker and only reveals the truth when in contact with magic of some kind. I really don't know. But I am curious if any of you picked up on this based on what I said earlier, but coincidentally enough, Marco is wearing a suit in this episode. Not saying that Toffee is actively pulling any strings here, because of course he's currently out of commission, but then again, some of you really surprised me. I mean, some of you are just too quick, in my opinion, to write the strategic mastermind of Toffee off. But hey, if you think it's over, his next surprise will just be all the more insane, and if you're shipping Starco on top of that, well, you are certainly in for quite the emotional roller coaster ride. And I just think that's so amazing. Star Versus has really displayed its ability to expertly subvert expectations and end up giving us what we never knew we wanted or needed, and that's one of the biggest pleasures the show can provide. Things are never really stretched out beyond the point of no return where doing anything other than what was alluded to is distracting or disrupts the story, which I certainly enjoy. It seems Darren Nefsey is one to actively challenge and toy with preconceived notions in her storytelling, and that's one of the many assets possessed by this series that I feel separated from its contemporaries and serves to keep things shocking, exciting, and intriguing. And so there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that there is more to this blood moon thing than is currently being displayed, and we have just a long journey ahead of us with it. But guys, what do you think about the blood moon? Would you agree that it's akin to a curse, or are you Starco over everything and nothing else matters on your path to victory? And with that, do you think that Toffee is a Starco shipper too? I told you guys my favorite Star versus ship here, so go ahead and tell me yours. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.